Hello viewers, welcome to our YouTube channel History Gems. Today we are going to discuss revolutionary nationalism. You see that when the partition of Bengal was done, then it brought lot of patriotic fervor in Bengal as well as in other parts of the country. Anti-partition movement started in various parts and it led to the unity of all parts of people of Bengal. But Swadeshi movement could not bring the desired result. Reason being that British had dealt with this anti-partition movement with iron hand, and repressive measure taken by the British brought down the morale of the nationalist. That is why the failure of Swadeshi movement and repressive measure taken by the government led to seriously think to the youths of Bengal that the way British had tried to crush the Bengal anti-partition Bengal movement by terror, so the youths of Bengal, they also seriously started thinking in terms of terror against terror. So they followed this policy that when British can use terror, then we should also follow the same policy, and that is why there started some of the secret organization, these revolutionary organization, which wanted to take the path of violence. They wanted to take action against the government authorities so that they can also be taught that we are also capable to take action against the government. So that is why some of the organization like Jugantar Group of Calcutta and Anushilan Samiti of Dhaka, these were some of the secret organization which were formed in Bengal, and one more organization, Abhinav Bharat, in Maharashtra and other part. These were some of the organizations which were established by youths of India to deal with the tough laws of the British and to take action against the British government. So what was the ideological background against this revolutionary movement? So as far as the revolutionary movement is concerned, this had very ideological background. To this movement we can see that many of the revolutionaries, they were influenced by Italian freedom fighters like Mazzini and Garibaldi. Then they were influenced by the philosophy of Lord Krishna, Nishkam Karma, as well as Vedantism, by Swami Vivekananda, as well as Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's Vande Matram, which was published in Anand Math. So these became some of the ideological background for them. Then Swami Dayanand Saraswati's philosophy of back to Vedas, as well as many of the revolutionaries like Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, they strongly criticized the policies of moderate nationalists because they continued to follow the policy of prayer and petition, which did not bring any desired result. Rabindranath Tagore, he also expressed his dissatisfaction in his General Sadhana and asked the new generation to give up the policy of prayer and petition and to follow some aggressive nationalism. So this aggressive nationalism and revolutionary nationalism was based on the ideological background of various philosophies. Okay. So what were the causes responsible for the rise of assertive nationalism? So there were various factors which were responsible for the growth of revolutionary nationalism or assertive nationalism. That, first of all, role of vernacular press. Various newspapers like Bangbasi, Yugantar, Kesri, many other newspapers, they criticize the policies of the moderates of prayer and petition, and they asserted that we require an active movement to fight against the British oppression. And these newspapers filled the youths with the feeling of patriotism, and they created an environment of patriotism and nationalism, which led to the growth of revolutionary nationalism. As well as there were various social religious movement, reform movement were started during this time, and these reform movement had created a feeling among the youths about the love for their past. They realized that the British, they are mainly responsible for the downfall of Indian. Otherwise, our past is very rich. We have to go back to our religious literature, to our past, which has made our country great. But because of British, this all problem had started. That is why this created feeling of revolutionary nationalism among the youth. Various religious reform movement, they challenged the evils and tried to brought reform in the society. As well as economic factors were also mainly responsible, because that because of the wrong policies of the British, this had resulted in the downfall of the economy, and people had to face lot of hardship. For example, British had passed this Tariff and Cotton Duty Act of 1994. Because of this, Indian cottage industry was totally crushed. The handicraft people, the people involved in this occupation, they all were totally ruined. So that is why Dadabhai Nauroji, in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, had explained that how British were taking India's money to Britain in the form of pension, in the form of salary, in the form of saving, and in the form of taxes, each and everything, how they are draining India's wealth to England. As well as R.C. Datta, in his book Economic History of India, had also explained that how British were utilizing in India's resources and taking it to Britain, and because of this people are facing lot of economic hardship. This has led to poverty, this has led to backwardness of Indian agriculture and handicraft industry. Economic factors were mainly responsible for the rise of revolutionary nationalism. Famine of 1896-97 brought lot of suffering to the Indian people, and during this time there were around 45 lakh deaths. So 45 lakh people died in this famine, and this was followed by bubonic plague, in which British authorities failed to take any measure for the welfare of the people, and they could not even properly apply this famine relief code. So under this they were not given proper care, and people were treated just like inhuman, and some of the officials, they were posted on removing the people suffering from plague just like the animals. So this angered the some of the youths, and you know that because of this reason Chapekar brothers, they killed plague commissioner Mr. Rand. So this led them to take revolutionary step. As well as Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he severely criticized the British policies of dealing with famine and plague. Because of this reason, and he was tried and he was given 18-month imprisonment. So all these economic factors and dealing with the terrible famine made British very unpopular among the youths, and that is why they wanted to take revenge of this, and they wanted to make their country free by following revolutionary nationalism. Besides this economic factor, there were also international events. International events were also responsible for the growth of nationalism. You know that all over the world, people wanted freedom from the British rule. So in Ireland, the Irish people, they have started the Home Rule League. They wanted their home rule. In the same way, nationalist movement was going on in Egypt, in Iran, Persia, Turkey, as well as Bolshevik revolution in Russia. Then the Boers, they have started fighting against the mighty South Africa government, British government in South Africa. Italy was defeated in Ethiopia. Russia was defeated by Japan. This all led to feel that Europeans, they can be defeated, as well as the freedom movement which was going on in all part of the country gave encouragement to the Indians that if they can fight for their cause, for their freedom, then we can also start such movement to get freedom from the British. So this impact of international event was also one of the most important factor for which led to the growth of revolutionary nationalism in India. And finally, repressive policies of Lord Curzon. These were mainly responsible for the rise of assertive and revolutionary nationalism. Lord Curzon passed various acts which went against the interest of the Indian. For example, he passed this Calcutta Corporation Act 1899, by which he reduced the number of councillors. By passing this University Act of 1904, he reduced the autonomy of universities, as well as he passed various other acts like Official Secret Act, Seditious Meeting Act, Explosive Substance Act, and all these acts were against the interests of the Indian. Lord Curzon, he wanted to show the strength of British Raj, and he wanted to prove the point that we have to crush the Indians so down that they could not dare to go against British. So he was very staunch colonialist and against the Indians. So various acts passed by him were mainly responsible for the rise of revolutionary nationalism. And then finally, this partition of Bengal, which was done in 1905, was mainly responsible for the growth of nationalism. When partition was done, then whole of Bengal turmoil started there. They came out of their houses, participated in agitation, and anti-partition movement started and continued for a long period of time. Till 1911 it was revoked. So partition of Bengal, anti-partition movement followed by British repressive policies. So Swadeshi and boycott movement started during this time, could not achieve much, and the repressive policies taken by the British brought lot of morale down of the Indians. So finally some of the nationalists, some of the leaders of Indian National Congress, they decided to take arms against British. So that is why they started various secret societies and various revolutionary societies in various parts of India. In next video, we will discuss some of the secret societies like Abhinav Bharat, Anushilan Samiti, Jugantar Group, etc., which created a revolutionary nationalism in India and how far they succeed in creating nationalism in India. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.